Well, I really don't think that this is supposed to be how the fight goes. I think it's missing something. Welcome to the next episode of the Caverns of Time glitch series in World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Yeah, what a great expansion we're in. There's so much to do. That's why I'm literally glitching out of bounds in every instance I can. Showing off these areas scratches my deep itch for exploration in World of Warcraft. I've always loved seeing places like this in game, and seeing new areas for the first time is one of my favorite things to do in World of Warcraft. If you want to see more of these, then as the hordes of the Felguards would say, subscribing is
a paltry task.
You can also like the video and comment about a place you'd like for me to show off. In the last episode of the Caverns of Time glitch series, we looked at the out of bounds region of the escape from Durnhold Keep. Here we look at the Well of Eternity. I just want to say that the lore of the Well of Eternity is absolutely fantastic. It's the basis for the Burning Legion invading Azeroth for the very first time. The books by Richard A. Canuck, I guess that's how you pronounce his last name, I'm not sure, are incredible, and I recommend anyone to read them. Well, what we are doing today, you don't really have to read any of the books, and instead you'll just need to clear the instance up to the point where you reach the actual well. Now, if you watch Hidden Azeroth's video on this place, you'll see that there's another way to get out of bounds here, but I recorded this video before I watched his, and so I didn't realize you could do that. But anyway, once you reach this area, while I recommend finishing the instance, you really don't need to do that. Instead, if you want to see what truly lies inside of the well, then you'll need to travel to the west and start climbing. After a couple double jumps, you'll be able to make it to this area with relative ease. Now, keep jumping and you can actually fall into the well, and you'll unveil that it's just a disguise. There's actually a chaotic whirlpool underneath the well. It looks gorgeous, and the portal to the twisting nether still dominates the visual landscape as well. It's quite mesmerizing, to be honest. Now, I personally don't recommend doing this, but if you do jump down here, you'll get some amazing views. However, you will not be able to return to the main area, at least as far as I could tell. The inside of the whirlpool is strangely yellow, and there's a very deep pit here. When I tried to escape the area that I willingly dropped into, there wasn't much else I could do except continuously fall until I could restart my out-of-bounds exploration. The view of the well is quite worth the trouble though. When I jumped back into the instance, I ran over to the north of the same area, and as you can see, there's a massive city in the out-of-bounds area. Zin-Ashari, the former capital of the Night Elves, the largest civilization in the history of Azeroth. Now, in the northern area, I could not find a way past the barrier, so instead I attempted to fly past the border by going across the well. Big mistake, 10 out of 10 would not recommend. I regathered my thoughts and decided to jump around the mountains in the south. If you jump in this exact area, you can easily reach the upper parts of the mountains and anyway, I hope you all know what that means by this point. It's time to explore. Yeah. I started off just kind of blown away that this whole area is explorable. It is gorgeous, and I decided to just take a stroll through the forest. If you head to the northeast, the forest changes from just dead trees to a fiery inferno caused by the Legion. When exploring this area, I had chills all over, and while writing the script, I'm still getting chills. I've always wanted to explore this area. Well, I couldn't wait any longer, and I decided to start exploring the city. I found a little house here and a strangely floating building that looked very weird. Probably a normal night elf thing. But in contrast to that floating building, there's another one halfway in the ground. I continued on it, and there's fire just everywhere. Thankfully, it doesn't damage you when you travel through it. I kind of just wandered through these houses and destroyed buildings for a bit, as I didn't know how I would be able to explore all of this area. It's just amazing. These tree buildings look pretty normal on the inside. I'm not sure if they're specifically tailored for this instance or not, but if they are, that's even weirder that they have all the detail. Using my Demon Hunter skills, I was able to jump to the top of the building for a better look at my surroundings. Incredible! After looking around a bit, I decided to travel to the next level of the city. Here there is a destroyed elven statue and a few more destroyed buildings. I continued up the path and found even more destroyed buildings, of course, and heading up the staircase led to even more buildings. Crazy. This particular building is interesting because, as far as I'm aware, they are completely unique to this instance. There's nothing in them, but they are really interesting to see. Now, I traveled back around the wall and decided that since there is no path on the other side of the city, I would just see what the lower wilds had to offer. It's a weird ledge with what seems to be a traversable pathway. Beyond the pathway though, the clouds spin in a whirlpool. It seems symbolic because of the swirling of the well. What a beautiful area. Now it's time for some old-fashioned exploring. Sit back, relax, and see what the world has to offer. Normally I won't include large areas and montages, but this one felt like it deserved to be shown off. There's such a sense of mystery, sadness, and beauty in this forest. Finally, I come to this area that looks kind of burnt. When I climbed onto the bridge, I found out that I'm just past the main instance area. There's also a floating lily pad here. Kind of weird. I decided to travel west in order to start exploring the other side of the city. At this point, I can see the city and it's a beautiful view. Now there's a couple difficult jumps here, but I did manage to make it. These towers are pretty neat, and we arrive at a whole slew of buildings in the main palace area of the map. There are also these massive platforms with a ton of trees on them. Quite well designed. One weird thing to mention with the buildings is that when you enter them, the music completely stops. Typically, there's some sort of music related to the buildings even in the out-of-bounds areas, but in this case there's no music. I think that's because they were uniquely created for this instance and have no music mapping. Here you can see the other side of the gate, and it's weird seeing it from this angle because you're not really supposed to be able to. Well, I decided to do something a bit crazy and I checked every single house in order to see if any of them contained anything at all. None of them seemed to, so I just carried on with exploring, and as I traveled, you also see this gate too. Now, at the edge of the gate,
that's called a wall, son.
We see where I had to stop exploring on the other side of the map. I tried to get back to the other side, but just miserably failed. In a way, it turned out to be a blessing though, because I was able to explore the rest of the lower area of the city. I checked more of the towers out as well and looked through all of them, because if I was going to hide something, I would definitely hide it in one of these towers. When I jumped off of this one, I headed for this wall and luckily dodged getting stuck. For now. Foreshadowing. But yeah, the wall isn't solid. Now, I continued exploring the buildings quite thoroughly. I ended up seeing this area here, which is incredibly janky, and the buildings keep clipping in and out of the view. I avoid this area because of the uncertainties that may accompany it. I do not want to get stuck at this point. Again, foreshadowing. Oh, this building. Now, I hate this building. I really thought that there would be something hidden in here because it was hard to reach, but I absolutely could not get into it. Looking back at this, I could easily have used Vengeful Retreat, but instead I got slightly distracted and yeah, I fell. I fell. Oh boy, I don't think this one will be easy to get out of. In my next round of exploring, I kind of just clean up any areas I left out, such as the outer edges of the map. Looking beyond the edge is incredible with all the trees sticking out below. And of course, if you try to get past the edge, you will get stuck. I then explored more of the outer areas, and I did find something interesting out here. I found what looks to be a designer's paintbrush. Look at this. It's really neat, and I feel as though I can understand what the designer was doing. I'm really glad that I kept on exploring the area. Well, that's really it for Zin-Ashari. I'm glad that I was able to show off this gorgeous area, and after exploring this and finding all these cool areas, I feel more connected to Azeroth due to exploring such an ancient land, and I feel even more connected to the developers who made the instance by finding their paintbrush in the Outer Wilds. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad that people are liking these videos. They take a lot of time to make, and I enjoy making them, but man, it is nice to see that people actually do like them. So please keep up the support. I really appreciate it, guys. And I hope you enjoyed exploring the Well of Eternity in the Caverns of Time with me. Game Uncrafter. Over and out.